to the Who Dat Nation. Welcome to the Who Dat Say podcast, your podcast for the New Orleans Saints here on the KB Radio Network. I am your host and fellow Who Dat for the time being, Kevin Reed, and Week 12 is in the books, ladies and gentlemen, as the Saints played their hated rivals, despised rivals, the Atlanta Falcons, and they lost. The Saints once again lose. Once again. The Saints are now 2-9 after losing to the Atlanta Falcons 24-10. I have a question. To the Who Dat Nation, just solely for you. When is enough enough? When will, looking at this team, looking at how it's structured, looking at how it's coached, when will you sit back and realize that this team will never be good under this regime? Never. It's a realization that hit me like a ton of bricks today. Now, the Saints have been trash the entire season. Let's not get it mistaken. The two wins that we managed to squeak out today, this year, I should say, we did just that, squeaked them out. The Giants fumbled the ball, and it literally fumbled the ball away. They had 5 turnovers in that game, and the Saints barely won after getting 5 turnovers. But we won the game. Took it any way we could get it, right? All right, that's fine. 2 weeks ago, the Saints played the Carolina Panthers. You can make an argument the Saints dominated that game against the Carolina Panthers, winning 17-7. But we only managed to score 17 points against that team. I can't put a finger on it, but once again, we took it how we could get it because this team needed a win, and they got it. So, all right, you're going into the bye. I want to make this clear. You went into a bye week. You had not one, but 2 weeks to prepare against a team that just played the team that you quote unquote dominated 2 weeks earlier in the Carolina Panthers and got destroyed. Atlanta Falcons were on a 5-game losing streak. And at the tail end of that 5-game losing streak, they lost their best offensive weapons, not weapon, weapons. They lost their starting quarterback. They lost their number one wide receiver. They lost crucial pieces on defense, linebacker, offensive line as well. They've lost players. They lost a few during the game today. And the Saints still looked worse coming off of 2 weeks of preparation. They look worse. This was the worst game this season. This is worse than the Seattle game. Maybe some of that is a little biased because of the hatred for the Atlanta Falcons. That could play a part. But you look at this game, did you see anything from the Saints offense? I'm not going to pick on the defense today because the defense looked decent today. The defense played well enough to win. And I know you're looking at the 24 points, but a lot of that is give and take. I'm not going to put all that on the defense, but what more can you expect from this defense? This defense got you turnovers. This defense got you stops. This defense got you sacks. They gave you the ball back. There were crucial moments where this defense stepped up. Did they blow coverage on a couple of plays? Of course. Did they break containment on a couple of plays? Of course. But for the most part, the defense played well enough to win. Your offense couldn't get anything going. There is absolutely no identity to this Saints offense. There is zero identity. And now, it is solidified now. It is without a doubt now. The problem is not the quarterback. For everybody that was jumping on the Tyler Shuck bandwagon, thinking that he was the answer, he was the spark that was going to turn this team around. And I've been beating on the drum. No, he will not be the spark. Now, due to some comments that were made, that I just don't like Shuck. I just want Rattler to play and all this other stuff. That was never the case. I have nothing against Tyler Shuck. I reiterate, I have nothing against Tyler Shuck. I need Tyler Shuck to succeed. He's the Saints quarterback. I am a diehard Saints fan. Yes, I need him to succeed, and I think he can be a good quarterback. Unfortunately, the quarterbacks aren't the issue. Tyler Shuck looked just like Spencer Rattler out there. There's no difference. The common denominator is who's coaching them, who's calling the plays, and that is Kellen Moore. He is the issue. This dude can't coach. Flat out. It is no point sugarcoating it. There's no point trying to be nice about it. I'm pretty sure Kellen Moore is a nice guy, good guy, all that other good stuff. He can't coach. Somebody needs to tell him. And if he's listening, which I don't know why he would be, but if he's listening, he can't coach. It is what it is. I mean, we all have certain things we can't do well. I can't do certain things well, so I don't do them. I know I can't fly a plane, so I stay out of the cockpit. I know I can't coach an NFL football team. That's why I watch it from my recliner. Kellen Moore needs to come to that reality. He can't coach. There's no reason why you should take not one, not two, not three, but 4 trips to the red zone and come up with 3 measly points. One of those trips, you got to the 1-inch line and you still couldn't get the ball in the end zone. I don't understand why this team is allergic to the to the red zone, but they cannot finish a drive. It don't matter who the quarterback is. Now, the narrative was the beginning of the season, the first 6-7 weeks of the season, it was Spencer Rattler's fault. Well, Spencer Rattler wasn't on the field today. So whose fault is it? I would love to know. I'm dying to know. Somebody help me understand why this team has red zone struggles. Doesn't matter who they're playing. Doesn't matter where they're playing at. You're at home and you can't score. Speaking of can't score, while we at it, why is Blake Grupe still on this team? How does he have a job? Look, I don't like calling for people's jobs. God knows, bro. It's really painful to sit here and have to dissect this team like this and really call people out for the lack of when it comes to their job. But I gotta call a spade here, man. I mean, you got one job, Blake. One. That's to kick a football. And you can't do that. You know what amazes me with Blake Grupe is not the fact that he missing kicks. Hey, man, once again, I know I can't do it. So I try not to judge too harshly here. It's a difficult task to put a ball through the upright. If you think it's easy, go out there and do it. But I know it's difficult. But Blake Grupe, what gets me with his misses, when he misses, he misses. There's no banging off the upright. There's no, oh, it was so close. He just was a little bit outside. It is all over the place. People are catching that in the those balls go so lopsided. I think in the main suites up there in the Superdome, people catch the ball once he kick it. As soon as it leaves his foot, you know that it's over. And in typical fashion, not only does he miss one, but he missed 2 because he gets in his own head and he's going to miss consecutive kicks. It never fails. I knew once he missed that first one, we can expect he was going to miss another one before the day was out. And sure enough, he did. Another thing about that is I can live with you missing 55, 56, 57-yard field goals. I can live with that. As difficult as making a kick is even more difficult to hit it from that distance. This dude missed chip shots. This dude missed chip shot field goals. Badly. He needs to go. At least bench him. Here's a fact that a lot of Saints fans probably don't know. On the Saints roster right now, the Saints have not one but two field goal kickers on the team. Blake Grupe is not the only one. So there's no reason that he should be forced to go out there and kick the ball. You have another kicker. But they won't do it. They won't do it. I bet you dollars to donuts next week, Blake Grupe will be out there kicking field goals because this team is inept. This team is not ran well. They're not coached well. It is an embarrassment. I'm going to be 100% honest with you all. I did not watch this entire game. I could not sit there and watch this game. Now, I watched the majority of it, but I was flipping back and forth between this game. I was watching the Cleveland Browns game, a little bit of that, and I was watching a little bit of the Dallas Cowboys, Philadelphia Eagles game. Those games were more interesting because those were real football teams. Yeah, I'm counting the Cleveland Browns. It is bad that Saints fans have gotten to the point that they don't even want to watch it on TV, let alone go to the games. And this is where Gail Benson needs to realize that she's losing her fan base. She's losing her fan base. One of the greatest fan bases in all of sports, not just the NFL, sports period, is the Who Dat Nation. We ride or die with this team. We paid for tickets to go sit in games and put a bag over our head. Despite the fact this team was losing, they were still supporting the team. That's how strong of a fan base this is. That's how much love that the fan base has for this team. But we've gotten to the point where people don't even care. They don't care so much. You realize that over the weekend here in New Orleans, the Atlanta Falcons fans, and they do this every year, so it's kind of a thing. They came down here. They were marching up Canal Street. They were marching down Bourbon Street. Normally, we take offense by that. Normally, that will rile up the fan base. You know, nobody cared. Nobody cared this year. We didn't care because the team is sorry. And we knew, I think deep down, we knew that the Saints were going to let us down. I figured the Saints would probably win this game. I had kind of predicted that the Saints would win this game. I'm thinking, hey, man, we're coming off of an emotional win, a pretty defiant win by this team's standards. We had a 2-week break, 2 weeks to prepare for this team that is on the skids. Players on their team are hurt. They got backups in there. You know what I'm on the road. We are at home. Man, this is a recipe for a win. Every box was checked for this team to win. And for some strange reason, not only did we lose, but we pretty much got dominated by Atlanta. And what makes it even worse, I can't tell you nothing Atlanta did. What did Atlanta do in this game? What did they do? Did they run it down? Now, they were running the ball pretty decent at times, but in typical Atlanta Falcon fashion, they went away from the run. It wasn't that the Saints stopped the run. The Falcons just stopped running the ball. The one thing that was working for them, and gave the ball back to the Saints. Gave the ball back for this. But we couldn't do nothing with the ball. Do you realize in the second half, I forgot to I meant to write it down, but once again, I was done. Emotionally, I was done. I meant to write it down. but the Saints had the ball. Time of possession should be lopsided when we go over the numbers here, but Saints ran like 40 plays to Atlanta's 10 in the second half, and we were losing. It was mind boggling to me. We weren't turning the ball over. We didn't turn the ball over. It was like what? How are we losing this game? It was like we didn't know how to win, and Atlanta didn't. They just flat out didn't want to win at one point. Nobody wanted to win the game. It's bad, bro. But to summarize it up, Kellen Moore is not the coach. If there was ever a candidate for a first-year head coach to lose his job, it's Kellen Moore. I don't know what more you need to see. No pun intended. What do you need to see? This dude does not improve. This team has not improved. This team looks worse. And I don't want to hear the honeymoon's over. I don't want to hear, oh, it's the first year. That mess. Forget that. Oh, he's learning his players. We're in week 12, and you played 11 games out of those 12. If you don't know your players by now, you're not going to know them. This team is what it is. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. Kellen Moore is not a good coach. He does not put his players in position to win. Everything that the Saints do as a team, that player has to do it. That player makes that play. Tyler Shuck on a couple of throws there, good throws that he made throughout this game. Those throws were made by him. It wasn't the play call. The plays be like busted plays. You know, if you observe them, the majority of those plays that the Saints actually have good gains or big plays off of, they be busted plays. Nothing scripted, nothing that is designed. And it really does speak to the coaching here that he can't get this team prepared to win. 2 weeks. 2 weeks, and you can only muster up 10 points. To be honest with you, you only mustered up 3 because the touchdown, the sole touchdown from the New Orleans Saints came off an interception, a pick 6. The Saints offense did absolutely nothing. Kellen Moore is a quote unquote offensive guru. He had so much success in Dallas. He had so much success in Los Angeles. He had so much success in Philly. But when you really look deep, when you really dive deep into it, and you don't have to go that deep, it's really surface level. You look in Dallas, he had Dak Prescott. He had Zeke Elliott. He had weapons. He has toys to play with. He had talent there. That's why he was successful. You look in San Diego, Los Angeles for the Chargers. Yeah, he had Justin Herbert. He had Keenan Allen. Yeah, he had players over there. When you look in Philly when they won the Super Bowl, Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Saquon Barkley. Yeah, talent. What do you got here? What can he develop here? Now, I never expected that level of offense. Neither of his 3 stops, either of those 3 stops he had prior to this, I never expected that because I knew we didn't have talent like that. But my God, this looks like he has no earthly idea what he's doing. Once again, we go into halftime with all 3 timeouts in our pocket. And that's with a late first half red zone appearance. He still didn't use the timeouts. This dude can't coach. That's just that. This team has no identity. What is this offense? Is it a run team? Is it a pass team? What is it? What is it? This team is trash. It just flat out sucks. Point blank period. I can't think back. Me and my cousin was talking during the game, and he was like, man, do you remember the last time the Saints looked this bad? And honest to God, I could not think. The closest thing I can think of was the Mike Dicker era. And that lasted, 2.5 years? But even with that, there was some glimmers of hope there, but it wasn't glimmers of hope like, okay, we're gonna turn it around and make a run. But they looked good in certain games. Not here. There's no hope. There's zero hope. I've said it before. This team is 2 to 3 years. I want to increase that. I want to change that number. We are 3 to 4 years away from being anything close to being a actual NFL football team. Because whatever you bring in next year is going to be young, is going to be rookies again. And so you're going to have a young team yet again. You're not going to bring in any free agents. You want to know why you're not going to be able to bring in any free agents? Who wants to play here? Who wants to come to this team knowing that you're not going to win nothing? You're not going to get any quality free agents. And so you're going to run it back again with a bunch of young players that you're not developing now. And so you're not going to develop them then. And so that's another year wasted. Then we move into year 3 of this current regime. Then what? Okay, you got 3 years with Tyler Shuck. By then, he's all broken up and bruised up because the offensive line is still trash. Because, once again, it's going to take a while to build up that offensive line. And so that's going to be a trial and error thing. And so, yeah, you're about 3 to 4 years away from this team being competitive for anything. I don't know if I'm ready for that. I don't know. I don't think I'm ready for that. I don't think the Saints fan base, the Who Dat Nation, is ready for that. We've been through too much. We've sat here and we tried to be optimistic. We tried to be hopeful for the last 4 to 5 years since Sean Payton left, and nothing. It's gotten worse every year. We are getting progressively worse and worse and worse and worse. But good old Gail Benson, she tells us that Mickey Loomis is phenomenal, and we it's ridiculous for us to think that Mickey Loomis should be fired. Can't make this stuff up. The Atlanta Falcons defeated the Saints today, 24-10. This loss drops us to 2-9. Atlanta improves to 4-7. The Saints were attempting a comeback in the fourth quarter while Atlanta quarterback Kirk Cousins threw a 69-yard touchdown pass to Darrell Mooney to put the game away. That was pretty much the nail in the coffin. That was the second touchdown thrown by Cousins today. Atlanta also added 3 field goals just for good measure throughout the day. Tyler Shuck had a decent game. He looked good. He was able to move the ball, but he just couldn't get it in the end zone. Is the bugaboo, especially in the second half. The Saints were stopped on 4th and 1 from the 1, then had to kick a field goal after not being able to score from 4th and goal from the 1. Tyler Shuck ended the game 30 for 43. This dude dropped back 43 times today. You're gonna lose. You're gonna lose. You asking a rookie in his second start to drop back 43 times, and you expect to win? It was ridiculous. He was 30 for 43, 243 yards, and 1 interception today. Devin Neal, he got a ton of action today after Alvin Kamara left the game in the first half. It looks like his knee and that tackle where he got folded up, I knew he was done. It looked nasty when it happened. He was already dealing with that ankle that he's been fighting through, battling through for most of the season. Now with this knee injury, who knows? But Devin Neal, he did great. All things considered, he carried the ball 7 times for 18 yards. He also caught 5 passes for 43 yards. So he was productive today, really productive, looked good, looked strong in some of those runs as well. So that's great. Taysom Hill, he saw a lot of snaps as well, which honestly is a problem. It's too much Taysom Hill going on now. Way too much Taysom Hill. And I love Taysom Hill. But You're using him wrong. He doesn't know how to use Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill is more than just a power run guy. You can use him in the passing game. You can use him as tight end. You can use him at fullback. You can, hey, use him as quarterback, actual quarterback every now and then. If you're going to use the gadget thing, use the gadget thing. Use it. Stop playing around with it. Oh, man, whatever. But he had 10 carries for 17 yards. He did attempt 2 passes today, but that didn't play out too well. Chris Olave had 9 catches for 70 yards today. He had a decent game, I guess you could say. Not number one receiver good, but good enough. Justin Reed, no relation. He scored the only touchdown for the New Orleans Saints. He on that 49-yard pick six in the first half. It looked like the Saints had some momentum at that point, but that was it. That was the end of the that was the end of the Saints momentum for the Saints. Like I was saying, speaking of the defense did play decent. I mean, they got a few sacks, man. I mean, Cam Jordan got a sack today. Chase Young got a sack today. I think that was his 4th in the season so far. Remember, he missed the first few games of the season. So this is what we've been missing. You know, he looks pretty decent. The rookie Stallbird, he got a sack today. You know, they like I said, defense, they can actually hold their head up high, in my humble opinion, because they did the best they could under the circumstances. The offense just didn't help them out. You know, you didn't get complimentary football today. Next week, the Saints will travel to Miami to play the Dolphins. Whatever. Whatever. I got no opinion of that. The Dolphins are 4-7 right now. Dolphins gonna win. Spoiler alert. It is bound to happen. Let's go over the stats for this game, I guess. Starting with the passing leaders. I already went over Tyler Shuck. He was 30 for 43, 243 yards and an interception. For the Atlanta Falcons, Kirk Cousins, he was 16 for 23, 199 yards, 2 touchdowns and 1 interception. Leading rusher today for the New Orleans Saints. You ready for this? The leading rusher for the New Orleans Saints was Tyler Shuck. 7 carries for 22 yards. And you want to know why the Saints lost? And for the Atlanta Falcons, Bijan Robinson, 14 carries, 70 yards. Leading receiver for the Saints, of course, was Chris Olave, 9 catches for 70 yards. Darnell Mooney for the Atlanta Falcons. 3 catches for 74 yards and a touchdown. Team stats go as followed. Total yardage, Saints had 293 total yards to the Atlanta Falcons 302. Saints had 2 turnovers to Atlanta's 1. Saints had 21 first downs to Atlanta's 13. Penalties, Saints had 4 penalties today for 36 yards. Not too bad. Atlanta, compared to Atlanta's, that is, who more than doubled the Saints with 9 penalties for 82 yards. 3rd down conversions, Saints once again 5 for 16. Not too bad. It's not good, but it wasn't too bad. Atlanta was 3 for 12. On 4th down, Saints were 2 for 5. Atlanta was 1 for 1 in the red zone. Atlanta was 1 for 2. Saints were 0 for 3. I said 4 before. I thought it was 4 times, but it was just 3. So I guess it wasn't that bad, huh? Time of possession, Saints had the ball for 32 minutes and 51 seconds. Atlanta had the ball for 27 minutes and 9 seconds. Sorry, 9 seconds. So you look at those stats, and you wonder how the Saints lost by 2 touchdowns. Inquiring minds will love to know. I think that's the biggest question on God's green earth. How? You had the ball longer. You converted more 3rd downs. You had more first downs. Please tell me. Tell me. I would love to know how this team lost like they lost. This team looked like they didn't have a chance in you know where to win this game. From the opening kickoff, it just wasn't there. I just didn't feel it. I didn't feel the vibe, man. This team looked like they weren't prepared after 2 weeks off. Well, let's go over the grades for this game against the Atlanta Falcons in Week 12. And in case you don't know, in case you haven't visited the show before, this is your first time, welcome to the show. And this is how we do the grading system. I grade all 4 units of the New Orleans Saints: offense, special teams, coaching, defense, and I round them all up and come up with an overall grade for the New Orleans Saints in Week 12. Let's begin with the offense. F. It's an F. It's an F. I don't care how many yards you got. I don't care how much time of possession you had. You couldn't capitalize. At the end of the day, your job as an offense is score. You didn't score. You had the ball more than you literally had the ball half of the game, more than half of the game, and you couldn't score. I don't get this offense. This, like I said, no identity, nothing, no plan, no game plan, no nothing. They just can't. They just went out there and played. F. Defense. They get a C plus. Defense, you got turnovers, you got sacks. Actually, I'm gonna change my grade, and this is the first time ever. I'm gonna change it mid grading and give them a B minus. It was actually a good performance, good enough to win. I felt they held this team down as long as they could, but the offense, man, the offense did not help this defense at all. Yeah, man, I give the defense a B minus. They're the only ones that can hold their head up in the locker room right now. Special teams gets an F. Thank you, Blake Groupie. Coaching gets an F. And so that leaves an overall grade for the New Orleans Saints in Week 12, a D minus. I'm just, man, I'm so disappointed in this team. This is an embarrassing organization. I have never been more ashamed to be a Saints fan. And for the first time. And I grew up during those. I grew up in the 80s. I grew up watching this team. Well, not watching them. Couldn't even watch the team. Because the games wasn't sold out. You had to listen to it on the radio. I remember that time. They were that bad. They were that bad. I wasn't embarrassed then. I wasn't embarrassed during the Dicker era. I wasn't embarrassed doing Jim Haslett. Well, not so much Jim Haslett because he won us our first playoff game. But I wasn't embarrassed. Even with Dennis Allen, I didn't feel this way. And I want to say this. I was public with my criticism. I'm going to be as public with my apology as well. I apologize to Dennis Allen. I thought Dennis Allen was the worst coach in NFL history. I apologize, DA. I was wrong. Kellen Moore said, "Hold my beer." He is worse than Dennis Allen. Now, does that mean we made a mistake with it? No. No, he's not the worst ever. He still wasn't a good coach, but he wasn't worse than Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore is horrible. I can't see this team succeeding under him. I can't, unless there be some type of deep, like, philosophical change in him, something spiritual in him that'll make him change what he is doing as a coach, because he ain't it, man. He is not it right now as it stands. If you couldn't change after that game, after last week, 2 weeks ago, coming off a bye where you quote unquote evaluated your team, where you looked at everything that worked and didn't work and all this here, and come out here with this, you're not going to change. And so I'm done with Kellen Moore. I have nothing else to say. I don't have nothing positive to say about the guy. Honestly, there is nothing I can say positive about him. Nothing. If you can find something positive about him, please tell me. You can email the show, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can let me know on social media. Just search for the KB Radio Network. Don't forget about YouTube, everybody. Subscribe to the KB Radio Network on YouTube and like this video if you don't mind. Don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to the Who That Say podcast here on the KB Radio Network. Everybody, thank you for joining me. As painful as it is for this Week 12 recap of the Saints versus the Atlanta Falcons, once again losing by the score of 24-10. The Saints are currently 2-9 on the season, guaranteeing a losing record in 2025. Like I said earlier, the Saints next week will travel to Miami to play the Dolphins. Don't look for anything different there either. The Dolphins are struggling, but nobody is struggling harder than the New Orleans Saints. The Saints look like the worst team in the NFL currently. And honestly, they are. I don't know any other team. A lot of people poo-poo on the Jets, but Jets put up a fight. They as of late, they have been putting up a fight in their games. They're losing, but they're fighting. Saints are losing and just being monkey stomped. There's no fight in them. No, nothing. But anyways, I'll catch y'all next week when we preview, I guess, this Miami game. I don't know. I'm gonna pray on it. But at the same time, between then, you know that we have Thanksgiving. And let me just say to all of the Who Dat Nation, happy Thanksgiving. And what I'm thankful for is you. I'm thankful for all of you who support this show, all of the shows here on the KB Radio Network. I really do appreciate it, and I'm thankful for all of you and your support. Have a happy Thanksgiving. Don't eat too much. Enjoy the food, the family, and some football that's going down on Thursday. I will meet you on the other side of Thanksgiving with a preview of next week's game. Until then, I know it's doom and gloom, but I'm still gonna be screaming, "Who dat?"